What's going on? What's going on?
Not much. It's been a crazy couple NFL days here. That's what I've been reacting to all morning is look at the did I get banned from Twitter? No, I didn't get banned from Twitter. Verification is gonna not look kindly upon
No,
my misinformation campaign.
yeah, it's really tough. Like, there's been a couple times since I've gotten verified that I've wanted to lie, and I don't know if I can do that anymore. I don't want to lose the verification badge.
And so, yeah, so I don't know if they'll give it to me. Retweet if I were to get like verified tomorrow, that report would really be my fake Baker report where I say that Debo wants to play with Baker so he won't get targeted anymore would certainly be an interesting tweet if I were to quickly receive a verification badge. But this is not the Debo Wednesdays with Matt and Theo. This is NBA Wednesdays with Matt and Theo. I was told the Raptors in 7. Is that not a possibility still? You got to lose 2 games to have it go to 7, man.
Dude, I picked the 76ers to win, and I feel dumb. I think the big difference between like this year's 76ers team and last year's 76ers team is just like there's no – if they put out a lineup with like Embiid, Harris, Harden, Maxey, Green, there isn't someone you can like – there's no one on the Raptors who can honestly just straight up guard Embiid one-on-one, right?
Yeah.
So if there's not, you have to take away attention from somebody else, but there's no Ben Simmons to
You just said Danny. You just said Danny Green.
So right, but
yeah,
even that difference is like life changing, and there's no like game plan around it, and there's no way like there's nothing Doc Rivers like even if you think he's like a bad coach, there's nothing he's gonna be able to do to mess that up.
You underestimate him. Wait until we just need that DeAndre Jordan.
When it ends up
wait until the DeAndre Jordan game. Wait until the DeAndre Jordan game. It's coming. Look, yeah, it's been 2 blowouts by the 76ers, and Barnes is hurt. I'm not totally sure how long he'll be out, but that's tough. And yeah, he's arguably their best defender, and they need him. Not only to guard Embiid, but yeah, if you're going to mob Embiid, that's leaving someone else open, and you need to definitely win all your one-on-ones when you have them. So the fact that he's out, a guy who can win those one-on-ones and is tall enough to maybe get Embiid a little bit bothered. But yeah, I still think obviously it would very much appear that the 76ers are winning this series. And the Raptors may perhaps not have been my best choice, but it'll be interesting to see where the Raptors go from here after this year. They really climbed late in this year, and again they need a 1A. It seems like they have a bunch of. They're like the Grizzlies without Ja Morant. There's a bunch of like good players there that can have a good record without the star, but they need the star, and they don't really have that. And it's hard for a team like the Raptors to get them because I don't think any NBA players are dying to go play in Toronto, Canada. So we'll see. If a trade is, that's how they got Leonard, and that's how they won their title was Leonard. So we'll see. Is the Sun season over? No, it's not over. They're not.
They're totally fine. I think so. Okay. You're down Booker for the next 2 games, probably.
Yeah.
If it's 2-2 and you get Booker back, you're fine. So you just got to go get 1, right? And even then, the Pelicans shot the lights out. You still have a very good team overall, and you have a very good coach. I think they'll be okay.
Willie Green has seemed to outcoach Monty a little bit in this game. So in this series so far, he's been really good. They were on the ropes for the first game, lost the second game. It's definitely going to be a tougher matchup than you'd like to see with Booker out these last 2 weeks. It's not impossible to think they lose the series, which is a scary thought, but it's still not like their season isn't over. Yeah, but it's definitely extremely scary for me as a Suns fan. They were coming at Chris Paul. They had some success on defense, just going at Chris Paul, which was a little concerning last game. But it was a Scott Foster game. There were plenty of those that we lost last year, and still made
Right.
it to the finals. There was a lot of they shot. I mean, that was not the refs did not win that game for the Pelicans. Brandon Ingram and CJ McCollum not missing down the stretch won that game for the Pelicans. But there was a pretty substantial difference in free throws in a Scott Foster game. So just putting that out there a little bit that, they never win those. Chris Paul never wins Scott Foster games. So now that there's hopefully no more Scott Foster games. Yeah. Once I'm verified on Twitter, I'm tweeting out that I saw Scott Foster at the sports book in the stadium. And people will have to believe me because I'm verified. That'll be my greatest. It'll be some finals game, and I'll use my verification to Photoshop Scott Foster in the casino and then tweet that out there like it's serious. Yeah.
That's fun. That's fun until you get sued for like slander or something.
Oh.
If I'm Scott Foster, I'm taking everything Theo Ash has if he tells a lie on my name like that.
I'm gonna, yeah, I would say I'd be a good lawyer. I think if I wasn't a sports journalism student, that was one profession that I heavily considered. And if I can convince everybody, that Leo Chanel is the best linebacker in this class, I can certainly convince a jury that my client is innocent, So I think I'd be fine if he brought me to court.
I'm not sure that's
that's the same thing. Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie to you, man. You might be cooked.
No, I wouldn't be cooked, even if, especially when I didn't do anything wrong. But that's not the NBA. But yeah, I think the Suns will be fine this series. I think they'll win the next series. It's the Warriors series that they could be cooked in with the way the Warriors have looked. And if Devin Booker is dealing with a lingering hamstring injury at all, and they're taking series too long, and they've got 4 extra games played versus the Warriors, they're less well rested. The way that everything has looked, that's the series where it's like the Pelicans, like, okay, fine. I think that the Pelicans will still get by, but it'll be tougher than maybe I originally anticipated. Even the next round, I think we'll still get by, and I think it'll be tough I think it'll just maybe be tougher than originally anticipated. It's still the Warriors series that really concerns me. That's what I'm still looking ahead a little bit. So,
Yeah, I understand. I get that. They've looked really good, but I'd like to see him against like the Grizzlies or something, doing it against a team that's
right,
a little bit more serious this season.
Right. Yeah. No, the Nuggets are just gassed, and Jokic has been, they've been just one-on-one with him and just clogging all the passing lanes and letting him, take the shot and not really letting him create like he usually does. And they're living with Jokic killing him offensively. And it's been a good strategy because, he's that's just not his game. This has not been a stellar playoff series for him. That doesn't mean he should be like stripped of the MVP or anything like that, as some on Twitter have insinuated, but his plus minus is bad, and not quite performing the way you'd expect against a Warriors team without really an elite big. So the fact that they've been able to do that is super impressive. And they just scored 70 points in 19 minutes, which is a little intimidating, I must say. But yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if that hot streak can last forever.
It can't, but they can be good. They can be the best team. Yeah.
You don't need to score 70 points in 19 minutes.
No.
Fortunately. Do you mind if I try to join on my computer? I think it's working a little bit better now. If you can.
Yeah, go ahead. I can entertain. Yeah. All right, Matt's leaving and he's going. It's just me now. Now that he's gone, fuck that guy, right? Oh my god, weighing me down on this on this thing. Do I think the Mavs are 2-0 if Luka played game 1, and thoughts on the rest of the series with him back? Well, the Mavs exposed kind of a fatal flaw with Utah to a very high degree, and that is when you play kind of small ball, they can't defend the perimeter, and Mitchell was food on defense, and Gobert couldn't cover the paint and the corner. So once the guy got blown by, Gobert had to go to the paint, otherwise it's just an easy layup. Kick it out for three. Like they hit what, 17 open threes? So I think it was what? Yeah, 17 open threes. So that's ridiculous. And that was just a perfect encapsulation of everything wrong with Utah. And I thought for maybe a series they could keep it up. They can't. And I think it would be 2-0 with Luka. And I think with him back, the Mavs are winning, you know. The fatal flaw with the Jazz is that they're bad, you know. Yeah.
That's what gets them. Have you ever seen...
what are you doing back? Where were you?
I tried my hardest. I gave it a good college try.
Yeah, all right.
Wi-Fi is just not serious today. Not getting serious Wi-Fi from Spectrum today.
Unserious, much like the Utah Jazz. Oh, look at me on the screen. My chin is there.
I did a little bit of I went back and watched a little bit of the game. I did a little bit of a film review on the Stay Hot account.
I thought it was good. Yeah.
It's my fault because it paints Gobert as way too much of like, oh, it's none of it's his fault. The problem with Utah is both kind of on Donovan Mitchell and on Gobert. And there's a lot of ways that they could be better, but it's like in Gobert's case, because he's not more of a threat on offense, because he doesn't exploit mismatches, there's no fear when you go small ball against them. There's no like, right. Oh, well, we'll get cooked by Gobert. So you go small ball, 5 out, Gobert's on the perimeter, and his help defense is way, way less valuable. At the same time, though, the Jazz's perimeter defense, like their other perimeter defenders, are miserable. Like it's just terrible. Conley's not.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's tough to watch.
It was. So. I mean, what Maxi Kleba, 8 threes, no 2-pointers, 7 of them uncontested. I mean, that's just unacceptable. It's just unacceptable.
It's the exact same thing, and they don't know how to rotate at all. That's another thing. If they could just rotate a little bit better, it wouldn't be so bad. But a lot they're lost, and then you see Gobert getting upset every single time, and it's like, yeah, well, I don't know if I can blame them.
Yeah, I wonder if they'll fire their coach. I wonder if that's what their solution is. If they'll blame their coaching, or if they'll try to part with one of them and blow it up, or if they think that they have the pieces and their solution would be to just fire their coach, because that could maybe be the easiest big change they could make. I don't know.
You could, I don't know. The rotations are bad, but they haven't always been bad. Snyder's a pretty good coach. And I feel like to a point they should be better at that in game 84 in the playoffs, in a series that they've basically been gift wrapped, right?
Right.
But they also just don't have the personnel to be like a super serious team right now. Defensively, Gobert is not enough alone. That's not. I mean, their second best defender is like 37-year-old Mike Conley. So I know it's not that old, but like it's just fire Snyder and let him come to the Hornets, actually.
Yeah, Quinn Snyder, it would be interesting because it's like, yeah, I mean, you got to change something after they inevitably lose this series with Luka back. Like, that's just the last straw, and you can't keep moving forward with the same coach and the same young core. And I wonder if they'll be able to move anybody, or if just firing them is the easiest thing. So it wouldn't shock me, but they've got to trade. They've got to trade one of them. And I don't know who I would move.
It's a tough call because I feel like Gobert probably
maybe both
wants to be in Utah more, but Mitchell is probably the guy I'd rather keep. I just think that like this is definitely a situation where people are going to be like, yeah, blow it up, obviously, but this team probably isn't going to want to just tank. Maybe they do, but probably not. I also don't know what their first round pick situation's like for the next few years. Do they have their own first? Because that is a big difference. They don't have their first, and they're probably
I would
not.
imagine they do. I mean, I can't think of any big Utah trades that have happened. They're typically not a team that moves around. Maybe
Look it up.
But yeah, Snyder won't be fired. His contract is up after this year.
He is a Hornet.
Wow. Unbelievable. Snyder to the Hornets. How long has the Hornets coach been there?
Borrego. This is
Yeah.
year 4.
Oh, so that's getting to be a long time.
Well, he's on the hot seat. It's definitely a big question whether or not he's gonna. They do.
Okay.
They don't have their 2024, but they do have their 2023.
Okay. Yeah.
That's tough.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see. Mike Conley trade, man. How old is that guy? 50? You know, like
yeah, like
Mike
Conley.
Let's be real.
It's contract.
It's gonna be Booker. Like their core is not Booker, Mitchell, Gobert, and it's got to be one of those two if you're gonna blow it up, or both.
30. This team is ancient too.
Because if you trade Gobert, you're the worst defending team, and you're probably not getting enough back for Gobert that you can just fix the defense. So you're cooked if you trade Gobert. Most likely, you're cooked if you trade Mitchell. So you may as well like trade.
It would
both
be.
of them.
It's gonna be very, very hard to restructure this team in any meaningful way where you can even like convince yourself you're still serious. I agree. And I think Mitchell.
So maybe it'll be better. Maybe it would be better just to run it back. I don't know. You'd have to get the God offer from somebody. I don't know. It's difficult, but yeah, they're screwed. They're screwed. So that's that series.
I guess you could like tank. You could, if you traded Donovan Mitchell, you're not winning that many games. So you don't need to get Gobert off the team.
But like, would you want Gobert
you probably wouldn't. But I wonder if their strategy would be like, let's get back something decent for Mitchell, and let's not start from like where the Thunder are and trade everything. Let's go get let's go get a decent young guy, maybe a couple of picks. We might not be that great next season, but then we'd have a lottery pick, and then we'd be going into the next season a little bit more, well balanced. It wouldn't be the best idea. It wouldn't be what I would do, but it's something that they might consider.
Yeah, I would agree. And then from the Mavericks point of view here, Brunson is a guy who has been ridiculously efficient all year. I've talked about him a little bit and how I like him. When Luka got out, I was a little bit nervous. It's like, okay, is Brunson actually that dude, or is his efficiency numbers because he's been getting easier matchups as so much attention is devoted to Luka Doncic. So the fact that he can drop 40 in a playoff game with no turnovers and be a genuine, look like a genuine second star without Luka in a playoff game like that. I mean, yes, it was just an atrocious defensive performance from the Jazz, but I mean, 40 points with no turnovers is 40 points with no turnovers. So yeah. So Brunson, Dinwiddie, Luka, you could do worse. You could do worse in the fact that they're showing out without him. Dinwiddie's really not, but yeah, you feel good if you're a Mavericks fan right now. You feel really, really good.
Well,
yeah.
And the big thing is now Luka does not have to play game 3. Yeah. That's the big thing. Okay. Right. Like if you lose this game, kind of whatever, because you feel like really confident that you're going to win if you get Luka back, if you've been competitive in both games and you won. Luka back down 2-1 against a Jazz team. Like, what do you think the Jazz locker room is thinking after that loss?
And not even after that loss, but just all the losses they've experienced as a core. Like they've blown so many leads the back half of this year. They've blown so many leads in the playoffs. They've been, 1-2 seeds and lost to, mid low seeds. And so you've just got to feel like it's slipping all the time. Like it always does. Like you can almost feel it on the court when you're watching the Jazz. Like you just got to be like, oh man, imagine how they feel right now when they just blow it. Can they really feel like this is the year going in like they did? And and having the results that they've had to end this season, like they just can't feel confident. Like I don't care how much they talk about it, they can't feel confident. So yeah, it's you're right, Matt. You got to imagine how the Jazz locker room feels right now, and it can't be good. So yeah.
Yeah, how could you be bought in at this point?
Right. How can you be bought in? And that's the other thing is like, how can they be bought in next year? You know, how can they be bought in with this core, at next year if they lose the series? So yeah, it's big things have got to change. Mavericks, good for them. They look great. And with the Suns a little bit on the ropes, you've got to, as a Mavericks fan, you've got to feel like you can potentially make a Western Conference. You got to feel better than ever that they can make a Western Conference Finals run, which is kind of a miracle considering, they definitely did not feel that way in the hours after Luka got hurt. So we talked a lot about that game, but yeah, Jazz are kind of a joke right now and in the no man's land that you never, ever want to be in. But could be worse. They could be the Magic. It could be the Orlando Magic or something like that. It's better to be a bad playoff team than just a bad team. So at least there's that, Jazz fans.
I don't disagree.
Yeah. How do I feel about the Wolves getting blown out last night after winning game 1? I thought it was I thought Ja Morant was pretty crazy after
dude, he was awesome.
Tweeting out that Michael Jordan, it's just one. I mean, he was setting himself. If they lost game 2 and you tweet that out, you are the joke of the offseason, man. And then to come out and have the game that he did and them to win by 30 was pretty crazy. Like that was baller. Yeah, they were up to it. Steven Adams went out, and that's all. It's kind of like it was almost a little bit like what happened to the Timberwolves in the Clippers game. Is like Cat went out, and it just ruined the Clippers' whole game plan because it was like centered around it. So, yeah, shout out Ja Morant, shout out Jaren Jackson Jr., shout out the Grizzlies, and yeah, T-Wolves. Anthony Edwards looked human. And that is kind of what it came down to is that, D'Lo is bad. Anthony Edwards like human and Cat can't do it all by himself. So, yeah.
I thought they were doing a little bit better job of like running out and getting some stuff in transition. That's a little bit more their game. Going small definitely helped that. Adams out of there definitely helped that. Jaren Jackson Jr. is not a bad guy to be giving minutes at the 5 against Karl Anthony Towns.
Right.
Like you don't have to go as big as Adams. So as the advantages of doing that, and Xavier Tillman had a lot of really good minutes too.
True.
So I forget who tweeted this out. Maybe it was Dom 2K or something. Yeah, I think he did. He was like, "We're not seeing another Adam minute this series," and if I was Memphis, that's probably what I'd be planning on. Really,
yeah. When you win by 30, don't change anything until they prove they can stop it. And the Timberwolves didn't stop it last night. But the Timberwolves still, I mean, you got a game on the road. You're going back home. You've got to feel pretty good still, even though that was an embarrassing result. I still think they've got a chance in this series. I feel bad because in our last podcast episode, we talked about the NBA and we had so many technical issues that our Grizzlies analysis got taken out. So that was kind of brutal and all the comments were mad at us. So we'll talk about that off the top on the next podcast episode, I think, and kind of explain what happened there. But yeah, I mean, basically what we said there was, Memphis, we expected them to rebound and we expected them to wrap this up despite the game 1 loss in maybe a couple more games than originally we thought. Maybe we underestimated the Timberwolves a little bit, but we expected them to come in and still win this series. And that's kind of what happened. Although we didn't expect it to be that much. That's people missed us being right is the worst part of all.
I don't disagree. It was just so funny to see the comments because I saw you commented on it. I got like a little notification on my phone from YouTube Studio. It's like Theo Ash commented on your video. I'm like, what is he saying under the video on his own account? And then I went and looked, and every comment was like, so we're just not going to talk about Timberwolves, Grizzlies, I guess.
Yeah.
No thoughts on that, huh?
We do have thoughts. But yeah, that's Dylan Brooks had a good game. Yeah, Grizzlies are really good. I mean, they're the team. Trust in what they've been since the All-Star game. Really, like again, deep team with one of the best players in the world in Ja Morant. They're still that one game against the Timberwolves doesn't change that. So we saw that last night. This is a team that had the biggest blowout in the history of basketball this season. This is a team that put up 55 in a single quarter this season. And this is a team that is incredibly dangerous and can take off and explode at any point. And that's what we saw. One game doesn't change that. And when it happens in a game one, it kind of feels like it does, but it doesn't. And that's what this game showed. So that's kind of my thoughts on that. Let's talk about yeah, go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, I think going small takes away a lot of the advantages that the Timberwolves had and getting, if Cat's playing the 5, you can put Adams out there, but he's just going to be going to be spaced out. He's not quick enough to handle Cat on the perimeter. I thought his physicality would be a little bit more impactful, and it's just not because of how the position the Timberwolves put him in. You take that away, makes it easier to go run out like they want to. And Ja Morant, if he keeps playing like that, I think they'll win the series.
Yeah, Matt was safe from having to say Ant looked amazing. Yeah, you missed Matt's big admission that Anthony Edwards is better than LaMelo always has been and always will be. He was going on and on about that, but we had technical issues and had to
give LaMelo a
podcast.
Defense. It's going to be a whole different conversation.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. You're not necessarily wrong about that. Sixers are frauds. I can feel it. I don't know.
Dude, I really if you can explain to me what the Timberwolves are going to do to stop Embiid, I'm all ears. I'm very open to the idea of
who? The Timberwolves stopping Embiid?
Oh, the Raptors.
Okay, yeah.
Somebody said Raptors or the Sixers are frauds. Yeah, so
I mean, maybe you can project a Timberwolves Sixers finals if you want.
Karl-Anthony Towns and Embiid would be a funny matchup in the finals.
It would be. They fought. I remember they got in that big fight a couple years ago. That would be a little bit of a fiery matchup there. Yeah.
No need for thoughts on Trae. The Hawks are just bad. I really think it's interesting that Trae Young went from the hero last year to now he's had a couple of bad playoff games. And I think it shows just that any player can be the guy who steps up and then also the guy who everyone has their good and bad games in the playoffs. There's nobody who's just always going to be better and then or someone who's always going to be worse. A lot of guys do some sometimes and do some the other times.
Yeah, Harden has been rather bad. Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, the Sixers have done what they've done without Embiid really, or Harden really taking over, and I think that's been a big thing. Is their depth has been very nice, very nice. Heat have to face the Sixers. Heat Hawks, 1 seed versus 8 seed that the Hawks have been, or the Heat have been easily winning these last 2 games. Butler went for 45 last night, and yeah, I mean, again, this could not be a better first 2 games for the Heat. The first one, their defense was cooking. They won that game and put up a lot of points despite Hero having a bad game. They're getting bubble Jimmy looks with a career high in the playoffs with 45. Their defense still looked good. It's shaping. That's about as good as these first 2. That's the whole checklist of what Heat fans would like to see. Okay, shutting down Trae Young, check. Can the Heat win without Tyler Hero? Can they create offense without Tyler Hero? Check. Can Jimmy Butler look like the best player on the floor? Check. All those boxes are getting checked off. And it's maybe even like the Sixers, on the other hand, a team that's also up 2-0. They haven't checked. They've done it, but they haven't checked off the boxes that you would need for them to maybe make a finals run, where it's has Harden looked like his old self? No, that box hasn't really been checked off. Has Embiid have 0 injury issues? That box hasn't been checked off. The Heat have checked off all these boxes. So yeah, that's been a little bit of and surprising to some people who have been sleeping on the Heat. Not me though. So it's going back to Atlanta though. So we'll see. What do they say? A series isn't isn't a series until somebody loses at home.
Hasn't started.
Or yeah,
Team steals one.
yeah. So we'll see. We'll see. It goes to Atlanta now, but Atlanta has not been spectacular in their home building. So I got to project a pretty easy Heat win there. I don't think that the Hawks are making it out of this one, sadly. So we'll see. Embiid's not injured. He got up slow or something like that. He left the game hurt a little bit, and he came back, but still something that you're nervous about whenever you see that happen to Embiid. He's not injured, but he's got up Embiid. That's all it is. And it's not a big deal, but for Embiid, it is like a little bit like, yo, let's calm down. Do I think Embiid and Harden are foul merchants? Not really. It is a little bit annoying to watch the amount of fouls that they get, but like they're still good scorers without them. So I don't know what else it would mean. Like they can score without fouls just fine.
Yeah, I mean, they do get fouled. I'd say Harden, I hear the argument for. Embiid, no. And it's like if Embiid is a foul merchant, then so is every big who just like is too athletic for most people to guard and will just run into the paint and take like trying to draw like contact. Like Giannis goes and throws himself into defenders all the time. You know, he shoots like 10 plus free throws a game too. So that's just kind of the meta right now. Outside of that, though, is Embiid, you know, a talented scorer. Yeah, he does a good job handling double teams and has a perimeter game and has good post moves. So he does enough other stuff outside of that where it's like, yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to blame him.
The Hawks are 20-3 in their last home games. Twitter lied to me then in that case because I saw a bunch I saw some comments talking about how they haven't been that good at home. So that is my fault. I apologize for spreading misinformation. I'm never getting verified now. My fault, guys. All right. Well, the Hawks they're 20-3 in their last 23 at home. Okay. All right. Okay.
Well, this one's going to 7 then. Nice.
All right. My bad. It's going to 7, sadly, where the Heat will win. The home team will win every game. Heat away record. What is the Heat record on the road? It is 24-17, the exact same record that the Hawks have at home. So a true battle of the Titans here.
That's so crazy.
That is crazy. Giannis has the same free throw rate as Embiid. It feels like forever ago that the Bucks played the Bulls. That game feels like a whole lifetime ago. I don't know why. I don't understand the NBA schedule. Like some are back-to-backs and some have different. It's not like they play every 2 games religiously. Like I thought the Celtics were playing last night, but they play today. So I don't know. I don't know how the playoffs work. I just watch what's on, you know. What other games have we not talked about? We haven't talked
Brooklyn, Boston, man.
Brooklyn, Boston. We talked about that on the podcast and didn't get deleted from existence, and nothing is that game happening right now? Is that what you're looking at off in the distance?
It's not happening right now, but it's happening today.
It's happening at 4.
It's happening in 2.5 hours.
I have a concert. I'm going to a concert tonight. I'm going to Freddie Gibbs. I'm going to a Freddie Gibbs concert.
That's fun.
It will be fun. So I'll probably miss whatever the late games are tonight because that starts at 8:30. All right, I get it that the Hawks are 20-3. We don't have to keep saying it. I made a mistake. I'm sorry, Mr. Perfect. I guess I forgot that you never make a mistake. Pelicans Suns. We talked about Pelicans Suns. Lakers versus Clippers in Cancun. I got the Clippers, you know, in 7 there. I think the Lakers just couldn't. You know, the with Paul George back, I got the Cancun Bowl. I got the Clippers, and maybe even 5 or 6. I know what we can talk about. Wait a minute. I know what we should talk about. The NBA quiz game that Bladen is making. Chat. We are making an NBA quiz game where it pits a bunch of random players against each other, and you pick one. And you pick one, then the other, and then one, and then the other. And eventually, once you pick enough guys, it will generate a list of your top 30 NBA players. But we can't obviously put everyone in this game because then you would just be clicking for hours and hours and hours. So we're like, let's get it to 30 or 32. I can't remember what the cutoff was. So we're trying to think of who are the kind of the first guys out and how mad will people be if he's not there. We were deciding between Middleton. We were deciding if Middleton should be a top 30 player. We decided no. And I think the big debate we were going with was LaMelo versus Siakam. Who would you vote for there? Who do you think is a better player between LaMelo Ball and Pascal Siakam? So chat, I open it up to you. Who would you rather have in this game? And who would you rather see out, LaMelo or Siakam?
Gonna crack a beer and watch this KD masterpiece tonight. That's fine. I am interested to see what people say. Did you ask who should be out or who should be in?
Who should be out? Siakam or LaMelo? And who should be in, I guess. Maybe specify. Siakam should be now I can't remember.
Siakam clears.
So people are saying Siakam, is that out? Siakam should be in.
Siakam.
I can't remember what people are. Okay, people are saying Siakam better. Put Middleton in over Siakam. Middleton every 3 games or so.
Siakam, I said LaMelo should be out.
You did. You don't want to see him at the bottom of the list, though.
He'll be last on all of them because it's like him versus like LeBron. It's like, okay, well,
that's the same with Siakam, where it's gonna where someone has got to be number 30 on this list, because when you Siakam in, okay, maybe we'll communicate to Bladen that people tend to think Siakam is better and they would rather vote for Siakam than LaMelo in this game. But this is whoever gets the honor of getting voted against immediately every game.
Give it to Siakam.
So, yeah, I think LaMelo should be there. If we didn't include Siakam, no one would be mad. But if we were to not include LaMelo, and this is under the assumption that Anthony Edwards is making, that I think that people will be mad. Like, where's LaMelo? Why couldn't I vote for LaMelo? Tyler Hero, get real. Like, Tyler Hero has no argument for a top 30 player in the league right now. I'm afraid. When you look at the guys who are also on the bubble here, whether that be LaMelo, SGA, Gobert, like, Hero is a good 6-man, but Zion is on the list. If you want to name player, we'll tell him who the best. Maybe there's other guys who we're forgetting that aren't on the list, but I think that we're pretty good. It's just Raptors fans would dox you if you didn't include Siakam. Docs, yeah, maybe. Do they really love Siakam that much?
Yeah, dude.
They do. They love Siakam.
Siakam to be all NBA. So if he's not top 32.
All right. Okay. We'll communicate to Blake, because Bladen's our computer guy. Poor LaMelo.
This is so sad. Oh, he's 20.
He's 20. Next year, SGA is on the list. Ben Simmons is not on the list. Maxey is not on the list. SGA is on the list. I made sure of that. I'm a big SGA fan, so.
I agree. Well, him, man.
Everyone vote Pascal. Okay. All right. Jaylen Brown is on the list. Jaylen Brown is on the top 30 list. He is available to vote for. The guys who aren't, we went with DeJounte Murray, Middleton, I guess LaMelo now, and D'Lo. Those are the guys that are kind of our first 4 out. Kawhi's on the list. CP3's on the list. Raptors fans are insane. Are they? I guess I've never gotten smoke with Raptors fans except for Ryan, the OG Anunoby dynasty guy. Beal is on the list. You're probably leaving someone off if you have SGA top 30. Yeah, we're leaving off Middleton. That's Middleton, LaMelo, DeJounte Murray, and
I don't know. I think it's like.
I think it's a good list.
Is Garland in it?
Yes, Garland is on it.
Okay, good. I was about to say, because if he wasn't in it, though, we had to kick somebody else off.
Garland's on it. Yeah, D'Lo not there. Raptors fans aren't saying, okay. Anthony Edwards is on the list.
Oh,
Gobert
dude, can
is
you
on the
imagine
list.
if we didn't put Anthony Edwards on the list
And we put LaMelo
right
on.
now? Dude, we don't do
That would be hilarious. No, people would be quite mad if they could vote for LaMelo and not Ant. So yeah, he's there. BI is on the list. Cade is not on the list.
Gobert is an analytics merchant.
Yes, I agree. I would be fine with not putting Gobert on the list, but I'm also very interested to see where.
Yeah, that's the thing. I want to see where he's ranked.
Where people will put him. Murray top 30. He's someone that is tough for me to leave out, but yeah, it's just tough to put him above. It's just tough because someone's got to be up. McCollum is not on the list, but Ingram is. I really like DeJounte Murray. He's one of the first out for me.
Dude, the McCollum narrative has changed so much since he got out of Portland. And, like, honestly, he's kind of just playing
the same.
A little bit how he always has. Like, he's always been really good.
Yeah. Well, clearly this means that BI is better than Dame if it's changing McCollum's narrative like this.
It's having lower expectations. Is big for narratives like that, man. It's like if this team, loses in 5 and the first round is an 8 seed, it's like, oh my God. But if Portland was after that.
Is the Depoy of the year Marcus Smart on the list? No, because he shouldn't have been defensive player of the year. That's my take. Like Giannis is so much better defensively. Like, let's get real. Guards don't win it for a reason, and it's because they're never the best defensive players in the league. And it's true now. Like, you are straight up lying to yourself if you think that you would rather have Smart on defense than Bam or Giannis or even Gobert. So I don't hate it. Good for Smart. He's a dog. I like Smart, but like, again, that's a little bit of voter fatigue, in my opinion. That's a little bit, I think, like, voters do a decent job and voter fatigue is maybe a little bit overblown, but that to me, Adebayo is on the list. Yeah, Smart Depoy is a little bit off to me. I don't think he should have won it. I don't think he's like the best defender in basketball this year. Bucks defense was like 15th ranked this year. Where was Giannis? Like, is that because it's Giannis's fault?
I do fear that with Middleton and Holiday, if Giannis is the Depoy, you probably got to have better than the 15th ranked defense.
Yeah, fine.
I don't disagree with you on the Smart stuff. Here's the problem. Like, just straight up perimeter defense never makes you the defensive player of the year. Like, that alone, it's not like from a guard, it's not enough. And the argument for Smart is more than that. It's like, oh, well, he's a leader of the defense. He's calling stuff out.
Yeah.
That's his whole thing. And that's why they have the number 1 defense. But it is a little bit like, would they not be doing that if, like, would their rotations not be good? Would the rest of the great defenders on that team not be playing well together if it wasn't for Smart?
Yeah,
I'm not really sure. And I guess I'd have to look at what's the on-off defensive numbers for Smart. If somebody could look those up, if anyone knows where to find them, because I try to look for them. If you wanted to go by just value, though, like who is the most valuable defender to their team, it's not going to be somebody that anyone's happy with. So,
are you talking about the Frenchman?
Like the Jazz had a top 10 defense this year, and without Rudy Gobert on the court, they're like pretty much the worst.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
I do understand. Like, I think dinging him for the playoff stuff because of how teams get, like, I think that's valid, even though it's regular season award. He has 3. I really do think I think that. The other problem with the Smart stuff is that it was like not on anyone's radar until like the last month of the season, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, never mind, he's actually the best defensive player in the league. It's like,
yeah,
how did we not know this earlier if it's the case?
Right. Yeah, no, I mean, if I'm talking a defender, I'm a gigantic Bam Adebayo fan. That's maybe who I would have voted for, although he missed a lot of games and I'm a big health guy, so maybe that's hypocritical of me. But I'm not mad at Smart. I just can't really buy that he is the number 1 defender in the league. But it's okay. I'm not good for Smart. I like Smart. I like the Celtics. I like Smart. I'm not so mad at that. I am a Rudy Gobert hater for more personal reasons than on the court reasons. I think that he's annoying. so I'm not mad that he didn't win just because I don't like him that much. So yeah. Ingram is a top 10 scorer in the league. I've been trying to tell people about Brandon Ingram for a long time now. He is him. He's him. Yeah, he's like 90% of what KD is. I swear to God, he really is. He like everything KD is good. It can do. Brandon Ingram can also do. Maybe not at like the same rate at at which KD can do it, but he can still like physically do it. He's the closest thing not named Kevin Durant to Kevin Durant, I think. And yeah, I am a big BI fan. Sadly, he's cooking my Phoenix Suns right now, but you just got middied to death by Brandon Ingram. He can finish. He's got range. He's tall. He's tough to guard. He's really really good. And yeah, he's on the list. His mid range is crazy. He just needs to work on that three. Yeah, he's a little like Booker in that regard, where their mid range is just like exponentially better than their three, even, which is weird. So yeah, he is bootleg KD. Yeah, not quite as good as from three. When he pulls the trigger from deep, you feel a lot better about KD doing it than Brandon Ingram. But man, they play in a similar they play in a similar way, and KD is obviously a pretty good player.
Yeah, that was a big comp coming out of Duke.
Yeah, and it's coming true. It's coming
It always
true.
guys a little while. Every single time there's a guy that people panic on, and I don't know if you guys remember this, but Brandon Ingram was the guy.
Yeah, he was a big guy. All the Suns dudes were Lonzo, D'Lo, Brandon Ingram, like all of the like young player on the Lakers who weren't like immediately great. The panic button gets hit on them. So yeah,
like for this year it was Jalen Green, and he's already figured it out. Immediately. It was Anthony Edwards, it was Darius Garland, it was Jordan Poole. All of those guys were like pretty bad most of their rookie season, or at least half the rookie season. They were just like awful, and they turned it around. So he's one of those guys who figured it out too.
I don't understand why people are saying Scott Foster won the Pelicans that game. He clearly didn't, but it is just crazy how CP3 has just never won a playoff game.
That's like
it's just a crazy record. So I think when people say that, it's not so much serious as in just like CP3 always loses with of course he lost the Scott Foster game, even though it's not really truth. Are the Nets winning game 2? I'll go with yeah. Why not? Why not say yes? They almost won game 1. KD will play a little better.
I agree.
We'll say it ties up 1-1, and this series is a big heavyweight fight. Nobody hit the panic button on Ant.
No, nobody. Anthony Edwards turned it around probably
quick. He turned it around real quick.
Turned it around real quick. But if you don't remember Anthony Edwards being like really, really bad his first half of his rookie season, just from like an efficiency standpoint, it was bad. That's why he didn't end up the year.
It was the same thing with Jalen Green this year. Some people were hit. I saw some alarm bells get rung with him where it was like, guys, Jalen Green is like the worst player by VORP in basketball. Like way the worst by a bunch of efficiency metrics. And I saw some people ringing alarm bells about that. And then he, of course, kind of turned it on in the second half of the year. So it was kind of the same deal with Anthony Edwards. With BI, though, he never really was what he was now on the Lakers. Like, he never, like, Ant by year 2 was, or even by the end of year 1, was like playing at a borderline all-star level. And
Ant went from like terrible efficiency to in the rookie of the year conversation. He finished second. He was so good the second half of his season. So, yeah. And the thing is that those people who will be like, oh, this rookie's VORP is terrible, they're one of the worst players in the league, they're not wrong. Like, Jalen Green first half of this season was one of the worst NBA players. Like, if you were trying to go win basketball games, his efficiency was terrible. He's taking a bunch of shots. He was one of the least helpful as far as getting wins. But that doesn't mean that they aren't going to be good. It doesn't mean that like they're doing bad. That it's a shot creator taking his time to get, like, if you watch the game, you can say he's creating space, he's doing good stuff. The shots just aren't falling, and they will eventually, and they do. But until the shots don't fall, or until the shots do fall, they're going to be really bad.
Yeah. People who complain about refs are the most annoying people of all time. I agree, man. you won't catch me dead really complaining. I mean, maybe I might complain about like a single call if it's really egregious, but I really don't think that there's ever been a game that is just completely out of the hands of the team and they just couldn't have done anything, and the refs were just in the back. It's especially in a game where it's like, if you just get cooked in the fourth quarter, like the Suns got cooked in the fourth quarter, like they just allowed a basket every single time. So it's like, okay, let's blame the Suns for that. It's just every game. It drives me crazy after every big prime, especially in the NFL, like after a prime time game, like the Sunday night football game, anytime it's like a good game, I'll go on to Twitter and there'll be some call that happened in the third quarter, and like so much of the dialogue will be around that. Or at least not so much the dialogue that I listen to, but I'll click on like an ESPN post and like all the comments will just be like, refs, refs, refs. Shut up.
Dude, I think it'd be a really funny video if I was like, look how Scott Foster screwed over the Suns last night. And then it's like, and then it's just me like posting all the highlights of like Brandon Ingram turnaround jump or whatever.
You should. Can we get Blue Wire to edit Scott Foster's face on Brandon Ingram? Look at Scott Foster posting up here. Look at Scott Foster off the dribble. Has he off the dribble fadeaway? Scott Foster was balling right in Chris Paul's face. But yeah, even in like the Saints Rams thing, like, yes, that was a horrible call. Yes, the Saints would have won that game if that call didn't happen. But
they had the ball in OT.
They had the ball to start the game in OT, which I have heard, since people were so adamantly complaining about this too, because the rules are the other thing they love to complain about. If you get the ball first in OT, you're winning that game, especially in the playoffs. That's a lock. So the Saints got the ball first in OT, and they still lost that game. So no, it wasn't the refs' fault.
And it was off like a terrible Drew Brees.
Yeah,
you remember
Brees.
that?
Yeah, Brees threw it deep, and he didn't have the arm strength, and it was severely underthrown. But anyway, yeah, refs in the NBA and NBA refs are especially bad because I think NBA rules are especially bad. I've said this before, where I think like the NBA's rules are just harder to enforce because there's so many penalties, and if you get called for five,
a foul every single play if you really called it perfect.
Right. And like if you get 5, you're out, and you don't want the star players to be out. So like we've seen it in these playoffs in the Timberwolves play-in game where they were like gonna call a second tech, and then they realized it would be this guy's second tech and they waved it off because they don't want the game to get affected like that. So like the NBA is especially bad because I just think it has the worst rules, where it's easier to commit a foul in the NBA than any other league, and like the fouls are so impactful because like they're so easy to get, and if you get them, you have to go to the bench, or you have to like, it will physically like sub out your player for minutes at the time and get the other team free throws. So I don't think NBA refs are just like the dumbest and like have the worst eyes and are the most like, I just think like NBA rules are just the hardest to ref, if that makes sense. But yeah, that's my thoughts on refs.
I agree.
Yeah. But yeah, complaining about as I've been complaining about refs for the last 20 minutes. I hate when people complain about refs, but I will complain about people who complain about them.
In the Saints game, nobody even mentions how the Saints face mask off. I think in like any game where it's like it got decided by a big call, if you go back earlier, you can find like a big call that went against the other team.
Right. Any game, any game ever. Like I'll see like any close playoff game, any close primetime game. Look at this, missed hands to the face. And it'll be like a screenshot.
They missed this taunting.
They missed this. Oh my God. I can't believe. Look at this holding, like with this screenshot. It's like, that's not it, man. You accept your team lost. Oh my God. Viking fans in Minnesota, coming from Minnesota. I had this friend who just would never shut the fuck up about how the refs would just hose the Vikings every game. And it's like, well, maybe.
That's got to be like such a sad way to think about sports.
Right.
Like literally every single time my team loses, it's not in their control.
Right.
It's like, why would you watch?
Why would you watch? I don't know, but this is not ref Wednesdays. Remember when David Stern rigged the Lakers to win over the Kings? I don't remember that, but David Stern was a tricky bastard. I remember there was a tweet that's like, if David Stern was the commissioner, Chris Paul's COVID results would have been burned. Like for that playoff game, they would have been.
There's definitely some valid points to be made about a few like David Stern era
the Ewing draft, that like them bouncing the card around the edges of the thing is like they kind of did do that. I don't know why you would like knock the paper around the edges.
Even the Super Bowl this year, the Bengals fans were so pissed about the refs, and that one's so funny because like the biggest penalty of the game, or no call, went in favor of the Bengals on like 75-yard touchdown, and it just got completely missed. So
yes, that was literally like a game-winning drive with a minute left in the fourth quarter, and people were like, I hate when the refs ruin good games like this. It's like, what? Like, I get that holding was questionable, but like, you're just like what a miserable existence. Like every good game you've ever seen is just like ruined if there's a bad call at some point. Or like the most miserable people, and you are one of these, Matt, is like after the Chiefs Bills game, your first tweet is like, so terrible to have it end that way. I can't believe that this game was ruined, but yeah, it's whatever. Yeah.
Any NFL conspiracy y'all believe?
NBA. Well, I just tweeted that list of NBA conspiracies. I don't know any NFL conspiracies. Really.
I did see that. The iceberg.
The iceberg.
We need to say hot iceberg. I've been thinking about making that for a while, but I don't know what the hell I'd put on it.
I don't know either. Len Bias was a CIA hit job.
Some of them are. That's got to be from Reddit, right? I feel like
I believe it is from. I found it on Instagram. I found it on like not even a basketball account, just posting it. So I got it from Instagram, but I think it originated on some r/NBA thing. I believe ESPN wants the Raptors to move to the US. I like that conspiracy. I think that they like. I don't know what goes into it, but I think there's a conspiracy to move the Raptors from Toronto. I think they're praying.
It's probably just like we're not getting enough primetime games.
Yeah.
Or something like that. You know what really bothers me when something that NBA fan bases do?
Yeah.
When they like genuinely believe, it's not like that they have every single award winner. Like somehow this team has the 6th man of the year and the most improved player and the MVP.
Suns fans are in that right now, where
Suns fans are in that
Booker's first team All-Pro and NBA, and Bridges is Depoy, and Chris Paul is like second team, and yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
But like
Suns fans are in that a little bit right now. Raptors fans too.
It's just, I mean, I get it, right? Because like you got to rep guys, but
yeah, Raptors fans believe that they are the most oppressed minority. You know, I've never thought about Raptors fans being insane, but now that you mention it, I have seen some pretty insane Raptors fans tweets in this series about like how they hope Embiid like dies. And they're not big Embiid fans right now.
Have you seen all the stuff with like Nick Nurse and whatnot?
No.
Nick Nurse has been complaining about a ton of calls, and it's like, you know, and people are really pissed about that. Like, and I've watched the games and I do get it. Yeah. I think that old heads sometimes are like right about like too much complaining about calls.
There are.
It's like and look, I understand because like if you've played basketball, or like you're like, oh, that was whatever. But if it's after every single call, just really old, really
annoying. It's so annoying. It's like complaining after every call. It's like, let's fucking get on with it. Just deal with it. Oh my God. You know, I'm one of those alpha males. I'm one of those sigma males who has the mindset where just man up. And I don't go to anybody. I've never been to therapy. Not that therapy's bad, but if it was me out there, I would just
The
sit
Raptors need
quiet,
the Raptors need a coach who's
deal
just
with
a
it.
little bit more sigma right now.
They do. They need one who doesn't complain, who doesn't make his emotions known, just sits there and watches the game and doesn't show any emotions like a female complaining. It's going on my masculine podcast host mode. Nick Nurse is acting like a female for real right now, wearing his emotions on his
dude. Like, I see so many videos talking about like, oh, this is how podcasters are, and I'm like, man, I don't like being grouped in with.
Yeah, no, we got to embrace it. We're gonna just females wouldn't. I've seen some TikToks right now that's like pictures girls wouldn't understand, and it's like Odell talking to Debo after they lost that game and like comforting him, or like a duo that like broke up and how sad it is. Like it was just like a picture of like LeBron and Kyrie, and like instead of being like emotional sports images, they'd be like photos girls who wouldn't understand. It's like what? Yeah, no girl would understand that it's sad that this duo broke up.
You ever get stuff on your For You page that like you really like? I've been getting so much of like the rare fish market jokes, like an insane number of my For You page, just rare fish market jokes. And I swear to God, the not interested button does not work. Because like, don't get me wrong, like I get the bit. I'm not like hating anything, but yes. I'm like 4 of the last 5 videos have been like rare fish market jokes. I don't know if
who's the Skip Bayless of Stay Hot? I feel like the answer would be me because I say the most crazy things, I think, but it's really Bladen in that he manages to bring up like the same things no matter what the situation is. Like De'Aaron Fox is his LeBron, except instead of hating on him, he likes him a lot. I think it's like a mix of me and I don't know. There's no pure comparison, but
LeBron hate most recently.
Me?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I have been hating on LeBron as a Suns fan. Hate. Yeah, and I think it's fun. He's a funny guy to hate on. What?
I said, and you're a Suns fan, so you have extra reason to hate on LeBron.
Right. I have a reason to do it. I don't even know what team he's a fan of. The Mavericks. He's from Dallas. He's a Dallas beater, so he doesn't even have any reason to do it. But yeah, Bladen is a positive. Instead of like bringing up the same guys over and over again to like hate on them, he'll say nice things about the same guys. What we're not talking about enough is how good De'Aaron Fox is. It's like the opposite of like yes. Jerry Tillery is my LeBron. Yes. Tillery is my LeBron. Penning is a guy who I've found to be someone who I've like wanted to tweet way more about than I have tweeted about. Like I could go record an hour of just like Trevor Penning slander and I would have plenty of things to say. Like, and even if he's good, he's about to be my LeBron, where I just am never going to say anything good about Trevor Penning. I'm preying on his downfall. If there have been like, I have drafts. Like you think I've been really negative on Trevor Penning. I have drafts about him like that. I'm waiting to I haven't even tweeted.
Unleash. No, I don't disagree with you on the Penning stuff. Not to talk about football on the NBA live, but to do that, I've not from like, you know, maybe that most expert perspective, but I go watch some of that Senior Bowl stuff. You know how seriously I take the Senior Bowl.
You do like the Senior Bowl,
and it's hard to. It's definitely a little bit too much of like people just got the narrative going about like, oh, he's throwing people around. That's a good thing, but that really doesn't mean much.
It doesn't mean anything. It's like the fact that his whole stock is based on a lie that he crushed it at the senior. Like that's when he gets drafted. He will get drafted in the first round. And when he does, the first highlight that's going to pop up is the Senior Bowl highlights. Know that is a lot like a lie. So like if that's his biggest thing, it's and also like from like a meanness perspective, if you're bad and you're nasty, that's a horrible combination because everyone just hates you. You know, like if you're Patrick Beverley, to steer it back to the NBA win like live, Patrick Beverley's an asshole, right? Patrick Beverley's annoying and he's going to go the extra mile to like, you know, bother you and get in your head, right? But the thing about Beverley is he might not be the best player in the world, but like he's definitely like an NBA caliber player.
He's a great role player. Like
he's a great role player. Penning is like not even a good tackle at like imagine if it was like Denzel Valentine acting like this. That would be like what Trevor Penning is doing. So it is whatever. But
it's the difference between being like a Beverly and maybe how like a Grayson Allen is perceived.
Yeah, although Allen is like legit now. So
Allen is a good NBA player, but that's kind of like how I think guys sort of look at that. If you're nasty and dirty is a fine line when it comes to throwing guys after the whistle, and I think
and not even it's like I remember we'll get right back to the NBA one sec. It's like last year the nastiest guy, the guy who was billed as like holy cow, he's just tough and hard-nosed, was Tevin Jenkins coming out of Oklahoma State. The only thing I remember about Tevin Jenkins' rookie year was him getting that dumbass personal foul in the Vikings game, and his teammate came over and like decked him because he was being such an idiot. That's what I remember from Tevin Jenkins. And like it's even more the case with Penning is, in my opinion, a worse prospect and has more anger issues. But this is an NBA Live, so let's talk about something else. I talked about Denzel Valentine though. I got my Denzel Valentine reference in. So, oh my goodness, Valentine! That is not the shot in that moment. So, yeah,
I forget. I was watching a game last night. I forget who or like what, but somebody shot something. It was like, this is his shot, and then it didn't go in. It was like, not this time though. I forget who said that. It is killing me.
We need Warriors
narratives now.
They're the scariest team, and they're my pick to win the whole thing, and I think that they will. Look, Poole is an elite offensive player. Clay, I don't know how many threes he hit in that Nuggets game, but it was more than I've ever hit in a game. That's for sure. Steph off the bench was like, I mean, Steph was coming off the bench and they did that, and he had some crazy makes, and he looked fantastic. Poole looked fantastic. Clay looked fantastic. Draymond looked fantastic. Wiggins looked fantastic. That lineup, what is it? PTSD is the name I've heard for it.
I think it's funny because they're like just leaving out Wiggins. They're one away.
No Wiggins. Yeah, we'll figure it out later. Starter. But like the PTSD, whatever, Fab Five, the new Fab Five lineup is just like crazy in the limited minutes that they've played. But I don't it's a small sample size, but I don't see that lineup not being elite going forward just because I have a lot of faith. And also my narrative is like, I think Poole is the most improved player of basketball over Ja Morant. I think that's my take. Like Ja has gone from really good to great, but Poole has gone from like bad to great, you know, maybe not as good as Ja Morant, but to me, I think that's more in the spirit of the award is go from like an unestablished, you know, guy to like a really good player than someone who is, I mean, everyone would have said that Ja was the best player on the Grizzlies last year by a decent margin. And he went from that, like he was legitimately the best player on a playoff team to an even better best player on a playoff team. I think Poole is the more improved guy when it comes to like going from like a below average player to like a really key part of maybe the best team in basketball. So that's my Warriors narrative where, yeah.
I don't know. I think that Poole started to really turn it on at the end of last year.
That,
And I think
yeah.
this, like statistically, like he's been really, really nice like recently, but I still think it's Ja. Ja wasn't bad enough last year. Jordan Poole wasn't a bad player last year either.
No, he wasn't. I mean, he was. When was the year Jordan Poole was like? He had his like
His
Anthony. He had his
was,
Anthony Edwards year where he was just like statistically, or the first half of Jalen Green type of season where it was.
He shot 33% from the field over the course of the season on like 9 like it was like I'm looking at the stats now. He was like the most inefficient player in the league. So, yeah. but the next year he was a lot better, and then he still has improved a lot this year, right? But
yeah, I don't know. It'll be an interesting award to give out because again, Ja winning isn't quite the usual precedent, but we'll see. Please tell Bladen to tweet about DeFrozen so that DeMar remembers how to shoot a basketball. Yeah, I don't know.
Might need more help than that.
He might need more help than that. He sabotaged a Caruso masterclass in game 1. He really killed them down the stretch there. And this is nothing new, as Carmelo Anthony said. Who leaves first, Jokic or Luka?
I think both those guys might be there for a while.
I think so too. I think so too. I think there are a couple young stars that are really entrenched in where they're at. Maybe it's a silly thing, like Booker. I mean, Booker's, I guess, not even a young star at this point. He's been in the league for like 5 years. So, but yeah, there's a couple guys, and those two are ones that I think they'll be with their teams long terms. Ja, I think like it's like saying like who's going to leave for Ja? Like Ja, I just don't see a world where there's not really a path for him leaving right now. Mitchell is the guy where it's like he's a star that could leave. I don't know if there are any other stars that could maybe leave. Trey, no, not feeling that. Like it's not really a thing to project right now. Jokic is younger than Giannis. That doesn't surprise me at all, actually. Giannis has been in the league for a long-ass time. That's not... Here's a fun fact. Skylar Thompson is his name. He's a rookie. This is probably the last time I'll be able to say this. Skylar Thompson is a rookie in this year's draft class, older than Sam Darnold. He's older than Sam Darnold. He's been in the league since 2017, 2018.
Beal. Darnold came in the league so young.
Yeah. It's almost... Yeah. I almost wonder if that's a negative coming, like drafting a guy that young, because you just can't really expect him to succeed right away. And then, they're 3 years into their career and everybody's written them off, but you could still be like, well, he's still rookie aged, but like, it doesn't really matter. Beal could leave. Zion. Here's my hot take. I don't think Zion is as close to leaving as people think. I think New Orleans might not be the biggest market, but New Orleans is awesome. Seems like an awesome place to live, at least to me. The team is really good, like for where they're at, even without him. I don't like. It's not like he's playing in... I don't know where's a place people hate to play. Toronto. Sorry, Toronto. It's
like Utah or something like
Utah. It's not like he's in this like city where there's nothing to do or an NBA player can't ball out.
It's so hard to even tell. Like he's got to play a full season first. What are you talking about him leaving? I don't know how to feel about all the Zion stuff. I could totally see him wanting to go to a bigger market. I could see the Pelicans being really good with him, but your best player being that injury prone probably does not bode well for being a contender. And they still have a lot of stuff to figure out. I know that's maybe an unpopular opinion, but even with Zion back, is that team going to be good on defense, or like is their spacing still needs work. So I don't know.
Yeah, I would say Zion is definitely someone who feels like he could be on the move more than Luka and Jokic, but I don't necessarily think that he is not going to be there long term. I think people kind of made that up. Like, I don't know, but I could be wrong. As a Bucks fan, I don't think Milwaukee's an ideal city. That's true. You guys are lucky as hell. Giannis has the personality that Giannis does, and he's willing to stick around. Beal to Miami, maybe. That could be cool. Beal definitely feels like he should leave, and he could leave. He's not really a young star though. He's got to be 30.
He's getting there. If he's not there, I don't know. But somebody said LaMelo might leave. I mean, they want that to happen so bad. They desperately want to get LaMelo out of Charlotte. They're pissed.
Who's they?
Media.
We're the media.
Well, not me, but other guys. Once a week you're going to see report. He's going to the Lakers. No,
he is.
No,
he is. Sadly,
here we go again. More media. I mean, it's just, but I don't know. It's pretty rare for a guy to like leave a team after just his rookie contract, especially a star like that. That doesn't happen very often. So I feel that the Hornets will get good in time and LaMelo will stay. I think they win more games next year if they make the right improvements, and I think they've got a lot of options. So I'm pretty hopeful for this offseason for them.
Yeah, the big government hates Melo in Charlotte.
It's sad.
Theo, talk about rookie of the year, Cade Cunningham.
Actually, I've heard some people say that he has no argument for rookie of the
year. He's not rookie of the year. Not rookie of the year, sadly. Missed too many games. Got a Scotty Barnes, more points, more rebounds, more steals, more blocks. Impacted more wins. Him and Miles are complete homies. I don't see it. Well, Miles, we have it on good authority that he may as well be a Piston at this point. So LaMelo will join him in Detroit. We've got LaMelo, Cade, Bridges as the young core, and they're making a run to the Eastern Conference.
Bridges is not going anywhere. Detroit might offer him the max, but that doesn't mean he's going to be able to leave. He and I think he wants to be in Charlotte. So unless he like demands to go to Detroit, he's probably not. I think he'll be happy to play for $30 million a year in Charlotte.
What's the most boring playoff series right now, in my opinion? I'd have to go with Mavericks. I cannot bring myself to care that much about Mavericks versus Jazz, even though that one might go 7. I just am like, oh yeah, that one's happening too. The Jazz are choking. That one to me, it's not the most boring. Like the game, that last game was actually super exciting. So maybe it's not that. Like going into it, I was like Mavericks, Jazz, whatever. It's probably going to be Heat, Hawks. That's a 1 versus 8 that the Heat have won two easy games. So
I think, yeah, there's a couple of series right now that aren't good. Next round of series, or next round should be really good.
Bucks, Bulls also.
Bulls
that one,
like okay.
Yeah.
Because there's like, it's not even like anyone's super upset or like surprised about the outcome or anybody thought anything different. Like the big debate was like, would the Bulls win a game? So
would DeRozan play well in their losses, or will he play bad? Yeah. Warriors move on from James Wiseman. Maybe. I don't know why. It's not crazier things have happened, but like you might as well develop them also. Like this team with like the potential elite big man that could be there. Like, I don't know.
He needs to play. I don't know. Like,
yeah, he's a mystery.
I'd have to get something really like, if you offered me maybe Miles Turner, I'd start thinking about it.
But the problem is, like, the Warriors cannot take on any more cap. They can't spend any more money. So
Yeah.
I think they're just going to stick with Wiseman. I don't know what they're going to do exactly.
It's crazy that they're as good as they are with their second overall pick being a complete non-factor. Like, if you would have told me the Warriors are in the Western Conference Finals, or they're not there yet, but like assuming they're in the final, like they look like a juggernaut again in 2 years, I'd be like, oh man, Wiseman really panned out. But he didn't at all. At least he hasn't at all. And they're still this good. So this team with like a second overall pick caliber player, that if he develops,
it's the story of Warriors team building is timely Curry injuries somehow leading to like weirdo stuff like that happen. Like, he got hurt and he got a small contract because he got hurt in like his contract year, and that's what ended up getting him Kevin Durant. And they've done a great job drafting otherwise. But then they get hurt again. They get the second overall pick, which granted is not really what's made them so good. But Curry, they have these like down years or like these things like that where Curry will end up getting hurt, and sometimes it ends up getting him an asset like that or something down the road.
Yeah, they've done a really nice job injuring Curry at just the right times.
Yeah, not exactly what not to rag on Curry or anything.
We have a former Steph Curry hater talking right now.
Former.
Yeah, former.
Loves Steph Curry now. But they've done a good job handling his injury too. Curry injury allowed Poole to develop. That might be taking it too far. I don't want to start the narrative that the Warriors have somehow gotten lucky in their team building. I didn't mean this. Because the Draymond and the Clay picks, and Poole can develop regardless, I think.
Right. Yeah. But still, we're going to count it as the narrative. Curry
but
getting
they've
hurt.
done a good job. Like, they had all these injuries because they had Curry and Clay out, and they basically took like a gap year, even a couple gap years, and they did a really good job, like retooling and taking advantage of like, okay, well, we have these injuries. There's nothing we can do. All of a sudden, they made some good. They get Kuminga and Wiseman and Poole and those. I mean, I guess Poole was before those injuries happened, but I think Kuminga is really the guy I'm more excited about than Wiseman right now.
Right,
Kuminga, yeah, so good. He might be really, really, really good.
The Warriors are kind of goated at developing talent. It seems like the fact that they've got all these young dudes that are also could be really good. It's scary. It's a scary thought. How do Mavs build around Luka? Well, who's a Luka comparison? Maybe like, I don't know. Get him. I feel like getting him maybe an elite big man could be the next step that you could really like let him feast in the post. Like, was Shaq on the Heat when D-Wade won a ring? No. Was he?
Yes.
He was. Yeah, do that. Get Shaq and let him be D-Wade, and then Shaq be Shaq, and then use that mold. That's the mold you build your team around, the solo D-Wade and Shaq Heat, and then that's how you win a title. I mean, you need to get him a second, like a bona fide second star for them to win like a finals. I mean, they're good right now, and Brunson is good, and they're gonna have to pay him a shit ton of money. And Dinwiddie's like a nice option, but like I feel like if they added an elite big man that he could use his playmaking to like feed in the post and just have those two could really eat.
I'd like to see them make some sort of aggressive move like that.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly who's the guy. That might be an interesting video to do on what they should do exactly. But like a Mitchell Robinson would be a cool ad. I don't know if that's like fixing them or anything, but like a nice, real cool second option or something that makes them really strong on defense, like a bona fide like interior threat would be cool.
Yeah. Porzingis was an elite big man. No, he was not. He was solid, but he was like, I'm talking like someone you can like feed. So not even Gobert. I'm talking like a
Ayton.
good eight. Like if they
Ayton.
added Ayton and Luca, like the 1 in 3 picks in that draft, they could be really dangerous. I think they could be a finals team with like Ayton. 2016 Cavs. Yeah, something like that. They you look at these guys, like these duos, like no one, I guess maybe they could win, like what was the team like around Dirk? I mean, that was probably like the most the
It's a
guy
lot of
that's the guy I think of when you think of like a single star team, but they still had like
you guys are describing Gobert. It'd be interesting. I still think he has a problem where it's like you're not afraid to go small ball against him.
because
And
a small guy can guard him.
whereas a
He's
guy
not
like Ayton, like, is he as good on defense as help defense as Gobert? Obviously not. But can you, if you put, Maxey up against him in the playoffs, he can go get a bucket on those mismatches a little bit easier. So it makes it harder to go small ball. So he can actually be inside the help a little bit better.
Yeah. Yeah. Hayton is closer to average than great. I'd agree with that. I don't think he is this dominant center. He plays like he's a little smaller than he is at times, but he's still good. And in the playoffs, he's been quite good as well, like in his career. So sadly, Blazers are gonna give Ayton the max. Don't underestimate the Charlotte Hornets, man.
Hey,
We're trading Ayton for next year. Next year when LaMelo fails to develop, and people write him off, we're trading Ayton for Melo. Watch it. Yeah. Yes.
No.
Yes.
No, I've looked. It's going to be really hard for the Hornets to swing any. I just don't know if Ayton. I'm assuming he cares mostly about money. Like that's my guess, right? If he wants max, I'm not blaming. It's not me. Like,
no, it's valid to want millions and millions of dollars. I also would like millions and millions of dollars.
I just like, I don't get, because the